Greetings, friends. As we gather together for worship this week, our Old Testament passage allows us to listen in on an intense conversation between King David and the Lord's prophet Nathan. God had called Nathan to confront David for the sins that he had committed when he committed adultery with Bathsheba and then conspired to murder her husband Uriah. Nathan could have used a direct approach, calling the king out for the abuse of the power which he had received from the Lord. But instead, Nathan tells David a story about a poor shepherd whose beloved ewe is taken from him by a wealthy man. The parable seems to carry David back to an older time, when he was a humble boy shepherd. With his perspective restored, David is able to see what an evil thing it is for the rich man in the story to abuse his power. And when Nathan reveals that this is exactly what David himself has done, David must confess his sin against God. This week's Old Testament passage calls each person of faith to speak up when we see injustice being carried out by the wealthy and the powerful. But to speak with a prophetic voice is not only to identify the wrongs that have been committed in the past, it is to help others to acknowledge their transgressions and to invite them to change their ways so that they might do what is pleasing in the sight of God. Before we gather for worship, please take some time to read our scripture passages. 2 Samuel chapter 11 verse 26 through chapter 12 verse 13a. And from the Gospel of John chapter 6 verses 24 through 35. When you finish reading, I would invite you to also reflect upon these questions. How do we determine whether we are voicing our own frustrations or speaking with a prophetic voice to the sins that have been committed against God? And when you confront those who have committed acts of injustice, are you also showing them the route by which they might turn back around and walk in righteousness? Please feel free to share your thoughts publicly in the comments section below or privately by sending an email to me using the address that's at the bottom of the screen. Friends, please remember to join us this week in worship as we gather. I hope that you'll be able to either be with us live in person in the sanctuary at First Presbyterian Church of Fulton, Sundays at 10:30 a.m., or join us virtually at the same time on our YouTube channel. If you can't join us live, please know that you'll also be able to find the video of the service on our YouTube channel so that you might view it at a later time of your own choosing. I'm looking forward to sharing with worship with you this week, and until then, may grace and peace be yours in abundance. Bye-bye.